This edition of the Rusty Humphries Rebellion brought to you by Australian Dream Arthritis Pain Relief Cream. That's right, if you have any pain, arthritis pain, or back pain, Australian Dream Arthritis Pain Relief Cream and Australian Dream Back Pain Relief Cream, oh, buddy, those are the products for you. You just rub it on because it's real medicine. Rub it on and it doesn't smell, it doesn't burn, it's not greasy. And it has an empty jar guarantee. That means you use that entire jar. If you don't like it, guess what? You can send that jar back, get your money back. But you're not going to do it. Why? Because Australian Dream works. It's that simple. But it must be hard to get, Rusty, because it's so awesome. Nope, it's available at Walmart, Walgreens, and all great retail stores. If they don't have it at your store, just turn around and walk away. That's what you do. As Chuck Woolery says, it's not greasy. Go find out more. AustralianDream.com. That's AustralianDream.com. Go find out. Go check it out. Go get your own Australian Dream Arthritis Pain Relief Cream and Back Pain Relief Cream.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything to scare your children. That's the last thing we want to do. That's a direct order. Do it now.
He's been put down, ripped off, cut open. Now he's unleashed. The American insurgency starts now. This is Rusty Humphries Rebellion Radio.
Well, hello, welcome. It is the Rusty Humphries Rebellion, brought to you by Australian Dream Arthritis Pain Relief Cream. Add zombies. And rustylive.com, my brand new website. I hope you'll check that out. Okay, it is Memorial Day weekend. So I'm recording Friday right before Memorial Day. I don't want to work just as much as you don't want to listen. However, I have a podcast, an interview that I did just the other day that is so powerful, so heartbreaking that you don't want to miss it. Michael Reagan, son of Ronald Reagan, had a horrible background that I had no idea of. We're going to get to that in just a minute. Had a chance to go to San Diego for the week. What a beautiful place. Hung out with a friend of mine, a couple friends of mine, Mike Koenigs, who was one of the original internet innovators, one of the original guys to come up with selling stuff on the internet, and kind of one of those motivational speaker guys. A great guy, really enjoyed hanging out with him. Also, Ed Rush, who is a former fighter pilot, a Marine fighter pilot. And these guys are both great in business, and I got a chance to hang out with them and really liked them. And you're going to be hearing more from them coming up in a little bit. I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to do a Memorial Day show. I think I'm going to. And I might do it live on Facebook tonight, Friday night. I might do it on Monday. I don't know. I don't like doing Memorial Day shows because my father, being a guy who we honor on Memorial Day, a guy that was killed in action, I really want to give it the honor that it deserves. And so I go back and forth. Should I take the day off? Should I go on and honor? Every year it's different, and right now I just don't know, to be honest. I will tell you that originally, years ago, it used to bother me. Memorial Day sale. Everybody worrying about hot dogs and hamburgers and not remembering what Memorial Day was all about, or even what day it was. A lot of people get confused between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Of course, Memorial Day is the day we honor the dead. Veterans Day, we honor those who fought for our country. And then I had a kind of a revelation, and that was, I think men fought and died so we could have these patriotic holidays. So we could go and have the hot dogs and the hamburgers and the picnics and be with family and enjoy our friendships and our loves. I think that's what it's about. So I think I was wrong when I would get angry about it. Now, do I like the crass commercialism of it? Not really. But that is America, isn't it? Isn't America about capitalism and coming up with what we can to make a success in our lives. So anyway, I hope you have a great Memorial Day and a great Memorial Day weekend. If you'll do me a favor, I've got a new website that I'm still just kind of getting started on, but if you want to check it out, it's rustylive.com, and that's where I'm going to start putting a lot of my material. Facebook is where I do a lot of stuff, and I'm going to start doing almost nightly shows on right-wing news on Facebook. And it'll be on video, and then we'll take that video and put the audio on here. And occasionally I'll do more just specialized just for the podcast. Like today, I'm not doing video. I'm just doing it for you because this one is really it's really a sad interview. We weren't, Michael Reagan and I were not planning on doing this interview. It was going to be a politics. Hey, what's going on, Trump and these things. Oh, by the way, I didn't get a chance to talk about it. But Trump in the Middle East was great. Trump telling the NATO allies, pay your fair share, fantastic. The way he handled Saudi Arabia, the way he handled Israel, beautiful. Harumph, A+. Of course, I love Nancy Pelosi. I don't even know why he went to Saudi Arabia first. Why didn't he do it alphabetically? Alphabetically? Really? No, really, that was a joke, right? No, it wasn't a joke. That's what she really said. Maybe I'll play that on the video cast tonight. Because it's so unreal that you can't believe that she said it. Anyway, without a lot of further ado, again, Michael Reagan will be here in a second. I do want to remind you of another one of my sponsors. And listen, you've got to support these sponsors. I've got a couple more coming. This is how we feed our family. I'm not working for a big network anymore. I don't want to be on the radio anymore. I want to do this. I am working on doing consulting with big corporations and teaching them how to communicate better. It's a business. I'm building it. It's going to get bigger and better. But until then, it's our sponsors and it's the podcast. And this is it. And so your participation, you're telling your friends about this, you're sharing, making sure you download every podcast and asking other people to do it too. I can't tell you how important it is. It's everything for me right now. And I appreciate you listening. I do. We got tens of thousands of you right now. It's not enough, though. I need more. I'm being greedy. I want it all. That's not it. It's just the business of what we're in, and everybody wants everything on the internet for free. Well, guess what? The more you want it for free, you got to have commercials because we got to eat. Yeah, Rusty, you eat enough. Thank you. Thanks for the fat joke. I appreciate that. Ad zombies. If you've got a business and you're trying to get that message out online, it's hard to do it the right way. Ad zombies will help you out. It might be a silly name, but they'll bring those ads of yours back from the dead. It's hard to craft the perfect message. It's hard to find what it is that the audience wants. And then it's hard to do it in a way that works on the internet. And then if you do find somebody that can help you out, they're usually really expensive. Not ad zombies. Ad zombies is the world's best flat rate ad writing service. They can do it for anything, radio, TV, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is. Go to their website, adzombies.com, and find out what they can do for you. You'll be really happy that you did. And if you go there at checkout, you type in the promo code RUSTY. That's me, R-U-S-T-Y. Type in Rusty. They'll give you 20% off the first ad. Go there, would you please? You'll be very glad you did. Adzombies.com, adzombies.com. That's adzombies.com. Let's get into this interview with Michael Reagan. He's got a brand new book out there. It is Lessons My Father Taught Me. Michael, welcome to the Rusty Humphries Rebellion. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. By the way, the book, Lessons My Father Taught Me, be a great gift for Father's Day.
It is a great...
Amazon.com, you can get it.
And I paid full retail price for it. It's a great book.
Yeah, that's great. I enjoyed writing it, and it's fun, and it's not political. It's just lessons my father taught me from the time I was riding out to the ranch with my dad when I was a kid.
Is it hard to write a book?
Yes and no. First of all, you got to know what subject am I going to write about? Then you got to know the subject, in fact, you're writing about, what have you. But it's not really that tough if you know the subject matter. It's like when I go out and speak, people are always surprised that I don't take notes and read off of notes or give a speech off of notes. I say, well, if I don't know the subject, why aren't you asking me to come speak to your organization?
Right. Exactly.
Well, that's the way I look at it.
Yeah,
like,
how many books have you written? Because I know a lot of people everybody goes, man, I'd sure love to write a book someday. They never get around to it.
They never do get around to it. And I will tell you, some of the best books I've written, not about my father, I kind of intersperse it, personal father, what have you, are really, because you know my history, you know about being sexually abused, being part of child pornography when I was 8 years of age, and just how detrimental that was to my life. But I found when I wrote my first book, On the Outside Looking In, and then I wrote a book a couple of years ago called, Twice Adopted. I really found it self-therapeutic to my life, because I really started to look at the issue and look at my life, because now I was writing it down. And I think people are more honest when they write their story than when they tell their story.
Is it, those stories that you just told about your past as a child, horrible. Why would you want people to know that?
Well, partly, I think it was therapeutic for me. And the other side of the coin was to really tell people that it happens to everybody. It doesn't matter what class of people you come from. This is a terrible, terrible, terrible thing that's happening to too many children, in the world that we live in today. If you consider, Rusty, one pedophile will sexually abuse 107 children in their lifetime.
Oh my God, really?
That's one. Yes, one. And so you're able to tell more of the story. It takes a child 7 times to tell someone about what's happened to them before the first person even thinks about listening to that child. But I'll give you another example of the problem that we have in the world we live in today. Last month was child, it was all about children, all about child pornography, all about child being abused and child abuse, month, if you will. Not one story in the national press, about the scourge of what's happening to our children. They'll talk about children all day long, but when it comes to that issue of really putting people on, discussing it, they really don't do it. I have volunteered since 1988. I have volunteered to go back to Washington, D.C. and testify, not only in child abuse, but child pornography, because I always ask them the question, have you ever interviewed some child who's actually been part of child pornography? And they never have. But I have volunteered to go back there, never been asked to do that, because, as I'm told by Republicans back there, they don't want to have me testify because they don't want to put a mark on my father's life. And that is the problem that we live in today. Everybody's so worried about their reputations that they really just give lip service to the children who have in fact been abused.
That makes absolutely no sense to me. If they would have said to you, I thought you were going to say it makes everybody uncomfortable, and that I could understand. But to say that it would make a mark on your father, that's insane.
But it's true. It's interesting. Most children who are abused by a family member or friend. And we talk about the church protecting the priest, but the universities protect the professor or the coach. The schools protect the teacher. But the worst protector of the child abuser is the family. They always seem to protect the child abuser over the child. And that's what's unconscionable in this country that we live in. So the child almost has no place to go. Their parents don't listen to them and don't believe them because, my God, as I write in my one book, Protecting Uncle Charlie. So they have nowhere to go. That's why it takes 7 times before the first person, in fact, listens to that child and what they have in fact been through if they're able to tell the story at all. Remember, I didn't tell the story till 1987. April 12th, 1987, I told my parents for the first time about what happened to me in 1953.
Why? And you waited so long because
you do.
You just do.
You wait so long because you are so everything good to you is ripped from you when you're sexually abused.
Did you not tell your parents because you wanted to wait till that person that abused you was gone? Were they dead by the time you told it? No.
No. I just got to a point I needed to tell the story because it was ruining my life. It was ruining my life and everything I was doing. I was letting my abuser control my life for all those many, many years.
Okay, I'm going to ask a stupid question because I think there was one point where there was somebody at my church that was going to try something, and then I invited my brother to go to lunch with us, and it never happened. So thank God I lucked out. But why then? What is it ruining your life when you're I'm guessing you're in your 30s at that point, right? 30s?
I was like 87, so I was 32.
Okay, so you'd think my first thing is it was a long time ago. I've forgotten. Why you move on?
You never forget.
Okay, why?
You never ever forget when you were abused, physically or sexually. You'll never forget. It's the most absolute worst thing that can happen to a child. Death is an option. Death is an option. In fact, when my first book came out, I said, if the photographs show up of me before my book comes out, I will not be alive for the first interview. Because you are dealing with so many things. Let me tell you from the male standpoint. For example, when I turned 16, I stole money from my dad's wallet. I would go to downtown L.A. on Friday and Saturday night and buy prostitutes.
At 16?
Because I wasn't sure. Absolutely.
Wow.
Because I wasn't sure if I was homosexual or heterosexual. I didn't know how people would see me if they knew a man had touched me and had sexually abused me when I was 8 years old. I wasn't sure what you would think. And so I had to prove to myself that, in fact, I wasn't homosexual. In fact, I was heterosexual. Mm-hmm. But it only lasts a week, and then you're doing it again and again and again. The way I treated my mother, because I was fearful if my mother found out, she'd kick me out of the house. And you go through all these things. When the man had me develop the nude photos he had taken of me, and he said to me, wouldn't your mother like to have a copy? It destroyed my reputation, or not my reputation, destroyed my relationship with my parents, with my mother, with my father, with everybody, because I was so fearful they found out how bad I was. Oh, because that's the way you see it. That's the way a child sees it. What happens is people, I'm not blaming you, Rusty, you look through an adult's eyes. You forget, and that's why I wrote Twice Adopted. You need to see sexual abuse through the child's eyes, not through your eyes. And that's what happens too much, is that we look at it through an adult's eyes and forget to look at what the child is seeing.
You've come through this, and I'm sure it still hurts. And this was not what we were going to talk about today, but I'm fascinated, and I thank you for allowing people to hear these things, because I think you're right. This needs to be heard. Your story needs to be heard, and people need to be keeping an eye out for it. What did your parents do? Anything that you wished they had done? Did they miss signals? Is there something that I, as a parent, should be doing with a daughter?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they miss signals. They miss signals. I mean, they don't know their signals, though. Mm-hmm. I mean, they don't know. The last thing they think is they put their son in an after-school program, and he's going to be sexually abused for a year of his life. I mean, that's not what they're thinking.
Right.
But they don't realize, when you're going through fifth grade twice, when you're getting angry, when you're getting mad, you're getting frustrated, and things, you're acting differently than you normally acted before. They're looking for other reasons, maybe why you act that way, instead of believing that kind of thing would happen to your child. And remember, these pedophiles, they find work where the children are. That's where they go, because they're looking for 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, and 12-year-olds. That's what they're looking for. So they find jobs in that arena. So parents need to be aware. Who's watching your child? If you're not hugging your child and giving your child attaboys every single day, who is? Because every child's looking for that embrace. Every child's looking for affirmation for what they're doing. And if you're not giving your child affirmation, who is? Now, Don, who died in 2007, the fact is he was giving me affirmation. He taught me how to throw a football. He taught me how to throw a baseball. Taught me how to be a young boy so I could impress my father with the knowledge that I had about so many things in sports, because my dad was a sports guy. And so he was giving me affirmation, and that was the way he was working himself, into my life. But I will tell you, when he died, I think in 2007, I got a letter from his sister-in-law who said, Michael, you can finally rest. Don died. He was as evil the day he died as when he was molesting you. And we have finally been able to destroy all the photos. Now think about that for a moment. 1953, the photos are taken. They weren't destroyed till he died in 2007.
Oh my gosh.
And now think about my dad running for office and me knowing the photographs are out there and worried every single day of my life that, in fact, somebody, National Enquirer, whoever it might be, may get hold of those photos and put them on the front page of National Enquirer. And that's why I say, if that would have happened, death would have been an option.
Michael Reagan here. Your book is, and it's out now. It's a fabulous book. It's called Lessons My Father Taught Me: The Strength, Integrity, and Faith of Ronald Reagan. And did you talk about that in Twice Adopted, the story we were just talking about? Is that where you got?
Twice Adopted. It's about that. Also in my first book, On the Outside Looking In. But let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I would never have been able, Rusty, to write the book we're talking about, the other book, Lessons My Father Taught Me, until I basically got over this and really forgave myself and got on with it and was able to look back and say, gosh, my father taught me so many lessons I didn't see when I was growing up, because I was so angry, so mad, and so scared every day that they would find out what I had done wrong, because that's the way a child looks at it.
Did you talk about any of the lessons that your father taught you about this particular subject?
No, just on the fringes, because I've written enough about it. But on the fringes, I put it out there. But I didn't want to make it about me so much as it was what lessons I learned from my father.
He must have been devastated when he found out about this.
Well, he was. I mean, like when he found out about it, he said, "Where is the guy? I'll kick his butt."
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I mean, and not to throw out laundry and stuff like that, but when my first book came out, on the Outside Looking In, I was going to go back to New York and do an interview with Donahue, and Nancy came to my house and said, when you go do Donahue about your new book about that, the thing. She said, that. I said, about being molested, Nancy. She said, yes. When he asked you about that, remind him you were living with your mother when that happened. So, and that's the problem. So Nancy's even thinking about protecting my dad and his image. He wasn't at fault, as Nancy wasn't at fault, as my mother wasn't at fault,
as you weren't at fault.
But ultimately you get there.
Yeah.
But a lot of kids don't get there at all, and so you have 60% of children who are abused go on to abuse. They become alcoholics. They become drug addicts. Why? I'd rather have you know me as a drug addict or an alcoholic than know me the way I see me and how I look at me. Because when I look at me, I see terrible things. But I don't want you to see what I see. So I'd rather have you see me as an alcoholic. I'd rather see me as a drug addict. I'd rather have you see me as a bum, because that to me is not as bad and terrible as the way I see me.
Michael, I had no idea. I didn't read the book in 2004 when it came out. I guess I should have. We've talked so many times over the years. I had no idea. And
well, the thing is, I make it through, but I tell you, it's a work in progress every day.
Yeah.
Because you learn to live as a victim, and so it's easy to fall back to victimhood. But I think that's a lot of people say, well, you're always talking about your dad. That's the only place I found safety. And so that was my safe haven, was my father. And so, yeah, people say you talk about your father and so on and so forth. Yeah, I do, because that's where I felt safe. I didn't feel safe outside of that.
Was it the safety of, not that you were around him all the time, but because the pride of having him as your father?
The safety was that everybody loved my father. And I felt if I was attached to him, people would love me because I didn't love me.
Well, I can't tell you. The book is available. Twice Adopted is available on Amazon. I'm looking at it right now. I would suggest people, I think I'm going to go get one. Lessons My Father Taught Me, The Strength, Integrity, and Faith of Ronald Reagan. That's out there. Will you come back sometime again soon? I don't want to get into politics and ruin this is just, I'm spent, and I'm sure you are. This is just unbelievable, Michael.
Well, thank you for talking about it, because it is a horrendous problem with what children are going through today, because we have so many people raising our children other than us. Yeah,
and I'm a single dad of 2 daughters, and I got to tell you, the stories you're telling me scare me to death. Well,
I don't mean to scare you, but just remember this: who's embracing your daughters? Who's affirming your daughters every day? And if it's not you, somebody will take your place. And who will that somebody be?
Very powerful. Do you have I know you've got a couple of organizations. Do you have one that works in this area? Or do you work?
Well, I have quite Kinder Vision is a group I work with. They're attached to Major League Baseball and the Hall of Famers. They can go to Kinder Vision. They're working in schools across the country. Very good friends of mine. But that's a great group, Kinder Vision. I would say that would be one group to work with. There's other groups that are out there in your neighborhood, in your area, and what have you. And so, that's what you need to do, because you need to be in the schools. Kids need to have a way out, to know that there are areas they can go into to get help, and they need somebody they can trust.
All right, Michael Reagan. Give me that website and then yours again, if you would, please.
Just go to kindervision.org or .com, and just go there. You'll be able to find it. They're nationwide, big in Florida and across the country, and what have you.
And how about your website? You have one?
Yeah. My website is simply my foundation, ReaganLegacyFoundation.org. The things we're doing internationally around my father and what have you, all over the world. So they can go there for that. My Twitter account is @ReaganWorld. I'm there all the time at Reagan World.
Yeah, you're doing great work, and the book is fabulous. Like I said, I bought it, everybody. I paid full retail price, and I'm glad I did. Lessons My Father Taught Me, The Strength, Integrity, and Faith of Ronald Reagan. We'll talk politics next time, okay, Michael?
You got it, good friend.
Thank you so much for being here.
Bye-bye.
Did you have any idea about that with Michael Reagan? I mean, maybe you remember that book from 15 years ago, whenever the first one came. I had no idea. And it really, really broke my heart, because Michael has been nothing but nice to me over the years. Anyway, Memorial Day weekend. I hope you have the best one ever. Keep an eye on my Facebook page, would you please? It's Talk to Rusty. Type that in the search bar, the number 2, Talk to Rusty. Look for Rusty Humphries. And follow that one. Make sure you like it. I'll be on Right Wing News over the weekend, too. You might want to like and follow that one as well. My new website is rustylive.com. I had to think about that for a second. And then don't forget my great sponsors, Australian Dream Arthritis Pain Relief Cream and Australian Dream Back Pain Relief Cream, and AddZombies.com. All right, that's it. May God bless you. May God bless America. We'll see you next time right here on the Rusty Humphries Rebellion.